And we are live. Set some
We
orders. I'm
are.
going to talk for a second. You're going to talk for a second. Let's see how you
I'm going
sound.
to talk for a second. I'm going to talk for a second because he wants to find out how I am because I'm awesome as usual. So, hi guys, how's it going? Glad you could join us on this fine, wonderful day. So, hi.
Or is it? Or is it change the? Does it change the code for us? Or is it going?
So,
No. Okay.
hi.
Wait, it wasn't updated on my one. Okay.
Oh, it's loud. I'm loud and obnoxious. I am the captain. I have made us go. And Raj says, hello, fellow Trekyardians. It is my birthday today. Happy birthday, Raj. Thank you for joining us and hope you had a great day. Hope you have a even better rest of the day. And I hope you got everything you wanted and or deserved. Maybe not so much deserved, depending on what kind of life you live.
Happy
But,
birthday.
you know,
Many returns. Happy returns.
this is true. This is true. Many happy returns. And Jill is here. Jill, she wasn't gonna. I thought she wasn't gonna tune in for this one, but I'm glad she's here anyway. So, Trekyards, Children of Mars talk. When? Need to see you guys tear that apart. That'll be tomorrow because I have yet to see it because it has not come on CTV Sci-Fi yet. It'll be on tonight at 9:00, so I'll watch it then, and I will do a first reaction review, probably around 10:30 or 11 this evening. So tune in for that if you're interested.
I'm interested, but I'll be asleep.
I'm still awaiting a thumbnail for that.
Well, see that I was gonna do, but then I realized all I have is the trailer, and is that really girl gonna be the linchpin? I don't know. I don't know. You know, there's nothing that tried to really thumbnail.
Well, just do the girl thing, and that'll be fine.
So, your first thoughts? No, I'm joking. Got to share first.
Sorry, I'm coughing.
What is this episode?
My first thoughts on this episode.
This
is a fun little episode. This is a good Pulaski episode, actually. If you want to get right into it, she's not really. There's a few moments in it that are kind of like, huh, and they don't go anywhere. But it's like just building Pulaski's character, making her, not so much of a bitch, I guess. You know how it is. So yeah. Anyway, no, it's a fun little episode. It's got some great moments, and two separate stories that are kind of one story, and that kind of comes together very nicely at the end, I think. So, but yeah, it's very focused on one story for the first half and the other story for the second half, and there's no real crossover until the situation's resolved, which is really interesting. So it's a very weird kind of layout and dynamic for this episode, I guess. But overall, pretty enjoyable for multiple reasons. There's some good moments in it for sure. So I'm looking forward to talking about it.
Why is it called Up the Long Ladder?
That's in reference to DNA, I'm sure. A DNA strand, yeah.
I can see it. I'm going to start sharing so you talk to the wonderful people.
Christopher Rollins says, quick question. Have any of the TNG titles made sense? Every one of them does. If you really think about it, we could explain each one if you wish. Yesterday was Samaritan's Snare, which is a good Samaritan comes along and is ensnared by the people that are trying to get help. So it makes perfect sense. Up the Long Ladder, of course, I think refers to the DNA strand. So, yes, they've all made sense so far. Just saying. This is the episode with super hot Irish woman. It is. And foot washing, which I never thought would be so exciting. But goddamn. And she got a nice midriff, I gotta say. I'm getting a lot of buffering, says Dan23. Everything is fine on our end here. It looks perfectly crystal clear on my end. So just maybe reset. It's your internet. It's not ours. So we see two groups at different levels of tech. Yeah, and that's kind of hinted at or whatever. Kind of it's a mystery for a lot of the episode because they had a bunch of computers and a bunch of communicators and things with the manifest. And then it's like, where did all the technology go? But actually, if you read the Dragonriders of Pern novels and which are very great novels by Anne McCaffrey, I might add. But there's one called Dragon's Dawn, and that's where these settlers leave Earth and, actually colonize the planet Pern. The same kind of thing. The technology eventually goes by the wayside for the simpler lifestyle. So, but yeah, it's interesting that, to get the story of what happened on the Mariposa, how they basically decided to split at one point, which is great. I think it's a fantastic idea. So there you go. And I didn't tell you guys to super chat. Super chat 58 of you here.
Yes, that was the job, wasn't it? And then
everybody hit subscribe. Well, yeah, it's because I started reading the comments and responding to people, and being a conscientious host. You want to, nice. Yeah, you want to, make your guests feel welcome. So I was trying to do that. They are
guests, and they are welcome.
But give us money. Seriously, super chats are great and important. Or you can Patreon, monthly subscription, and all the cool links down below. Get yourself some cool stuff.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, so yeah, you gave your thoughts then.
Yes.
I'll reiterate my little story on. I had not watched the episode all the way through ever until 2 years ago when I discovered it during a random rewatch while editing Trekyards, doing animations, and I was like, what? I don't recognise any of this. So I stopped and just watched it all. I was like, oh my god, a new episode! I obviously knew the Irish bit a bit, but when I got to the cloning stuff, I was like, this is all new to me! Holy shit! So to watch a 1989 episode in 2019 fresh was quite a nice experience. So it's a fond, my first second rewatch, in that context. So my first time watching it, this type. It's a very okay episode with some good ideas, some nice little moments, although it doesn't quite reach the really amazingness and a few cringe bits. It's I think it's probably weaker than some of its parts. You know how some things just come together. This one doesn't quite come together. Something's not quite jiving to make it be better. It's still decent good, but something's missing.
Yeah, it kind of almost reverts back a little bit to season 1 kind of vibe, which is weird considering a lot of the great episodes we've had in season 2.
What makes you say that? I mean, I'm intrigued. What are you paralleling there?
Just the fact that it's basically essentially one storyline. There's a little bit of a B plot right at the beginning, but it's never really goes anywhere. And it's character building for Pulaski, because I don't know if they knew they were getting rid of her at this point, but
I have no idea. That's a good question, actually.
So, other than that, yeah, it just feels like one storyline. It doesn't feel like it at first, and even at the end, it's like, you could say it's a varied episode, but it's really not.
Else, the entire episode is just one journey, basically. It's a taxi service.
Yeah.
With discussion. It's a very simple episode. Okay, yeah. Well, I think the characters have some nice. I think the characters obviously is what brings this thing out. I mean, without the charming Irish man, the powerful Irish woman, the reasonably good at his job Prime Minister, and every Riker does good. They all do their jobs well. So it's the acting that brings this from being a, well, you can imagine how TOS have handled this. That would have been an interesting one.
Yeah, I could see this being a TOS episode 100%.
The lady would be wearing less, the man would be more racial stereotype, and Kirk have sex halfway through the first half rather than 3/4 of the first half, because he's that much better than Riker at that. And it'd end with a scene where they're leaving the planet, and it says, Captain's log, I'm just walking out of my 46th bedroom on the planet, doing my duty for all humankind. And he just buttons up his jacket and then beams away, and it's like, great, thanks for that, Kirk. Didn't see much. Come on, Jesus. Doing his job, was he?
Yes. Hold on, just gotta do something real quick here.
And yes, I also remember this episode mostly for the fun thing of the Irish guy, Gene Roddenberry, and Worf all singing a random song. That's how I first was exposed to this sort of episode.
Yeah.
To see it was kind of fun at the actual episode around that. That's how I first knew about it.
Yes. All right. So, I guess we should probably just get into it. All right. So, we might have if I had the pictures up. I am underprepared because, like I said, I've been busy today. So I, got this sorted in the morning, as you saw when you received the.
It was early. It was good.
Right.
I liked it.
Right.
Yeah, start with a very bland shot of the D Enterprise D. The lighting is not on point here. It shows how, well, washed out you can make the ships look if they're not lit properly.
Mm-hmm. I actually liked, not necessarily the lighting, but I liked that opening scene because usually, as I get the screen caps of every opening scene, we never really show them, but it's usually the Enterprise coming at the camera, which is fine and great because you know what, Discovery doesn't do that. We need those establishing passes of the ship, which Discovery is sorely lacking, unfortunately. But yeah. But yeah, I thought this was a nice change of pace to have it in orbit of something. It's like great.
Yes.
Mixing it up a bit.
And just to clarify, guys, don't talk about the short trek because it's not. I mean, it's not out for Stuart or me or anything, so it's really not good to talk about it. So don't talk about it.
Yes.
Thanks.
You've been told.
Yes.
Joseph Patrick, though, puts in €2. I'm paying only this. Make Jeff pay the rest. We are very close to the goal that Jeff had set. So
51 likes, 78 people watching.
Oh, we just got over the 50. There you go. 81 people watching on my end. So, guys, hit that like button. Join us for the conversation. Throw in your super chats and have your voice heard. So, Eugene has done so, and he's put in 1,000 rubles. So thank you very much, Eugene. This is one of the episodes I remember as part of season 1 with Crusher in Pulaski's place. Rewatching is almost totally different experience. First time all the Irishness was lost in translation. So yeah, Jarzia says Trekyards Short Trek is on Crave TV. Also sent PayPal. Well, I do have Crave TV, but I'm going to watch it tonight when it airs on CTV Sci-Fi. So we have 2 free ways. Well, it's not free on Crave, but we have 2 ways to watch it here in Canada. So thank you for that, Jarzia. I will maybe watch it before. I don't know. We'll see.
And you'll see our thoughts tomorrow.
But he sent. Oh, sorry. Jarzia also sent $5 PayPal. So, according to an answer on Sci-Fi. Stack exchange, it's taken from a traditional Irish phrase, up the long ladder, down the short rope, to hell with King Billy, 3 cheers for the Pope. The phrase itself is a traditional one and relates to the fond desire by British nationalists to punish King William III and his descendants for what they consider to be his crimes against Ireland and the Church. They want him to walk up the gallows steps and long ladder and then be hung on a short rope until dead. Make of that what you will. So yeah, it's got a double meaning then with the Irish kind of folk song thing, and then also the DNA strand, which very much resembles a ladder.
I apologize on behalf of the English, but I wasn't there. And Eugene, was this? Did you rewatch it? Do you actually watch these in preparation with us? Sounds like you watched it again for the first time in a while. And I can imagine those of you that aren't USA or Great Britain, they might seem more alien as people, the way they're acting, the way they're talking. So obviously for me, it's just one of us, just the side branch, one of our cousins. But I can imagine
one of us.
Yeah, I imagine to a Russian or a Mexican or something, it's like, that's a hell of an accent. And then they're culturally doing odd things and saying odd things. And, there are some cultures, if you go back far enough, that are quite alien-y to each other.
Yeah. Well, Christopher Wallen says, are we even allowed to talk about the Irish in this one? Absolutely. I am part Irish, mainly Irish.
And Ireland.
Yeah, I have no issues. Stereotypes are good and funny because they're true. And I hate this PC bullshit that you can't have stereotypes. So I got to say that right up front.
But we didn't get a potato talk, to be fair. They didn't go the full road, did they?
No, they didn't. They could have been a lot worse. And I didn't think it was bad at all. It's like, we're getting the point across.
And 'cause in fairness, they're just an Irish colony that kept their Irishness.
Yep.
That's all they are. They're not...
Yep.
That's it. I mean, there's nothing really too much. I mean, it's not actually that racist. It's just a bit like, oh, well, okay.
And how dare that astronaut in the Royale keep his American flag on his uniform? That was racist and nationalist. And he wrote in a diary, as all Americans do. God damn it. It's like, really? Just stop. It's fine. Jeff Jacobs puts in 260. 60 likes in the first 17 minutes. Nice. Again at 100. Yes. And Lookout Tower Radio, £10. Oh. Thank you very much. Nice classic episode. I remember quotes, send in the clones with a drunken Irish father. Yes. Send in the clones.
And also Ryan K says, anyone else noticed that 3 impulse engines, only 1 if the neck is ever active? Yes, because the other 2 are for source separation, and I'm guessing emergency thrust, although I wish they kind of had scenes where that would do, but... oh, well.
Usually, I just finished writing a script on the impulse drives, and usually they're on the center line of the engine, or center line of the ship, sorry, to make thrust vectoring easier, which I learned things in Trekyards.
But let's go. So it starts off with Picard, Worf making noises. It's quite a fun, odd opening. Just zooms in his face going...
Yeah.
It's like, okay, great.
It was really weird, for sure. Then Picard's like, hey, Riker, you want to join me in the ready room? Okay. Then more Worf over-exaggeration, but that's okay. We hear about Admiral Moore, who we never see. But he's got a communique from Admiral Moore, and he's like, Riker, what's the sound like to you? Well, it sounds like an SOS, sir. Very good. It took Starbase Research hours to determine that this was an SOS.
Well, they were on their coffee break. And it was a holiday.
Yeah, nobody got the notification because it was via YouTube. So
because they muted on Facebook notifications. So they just didn't get it for like 2.5 hours. And
well, I just assumed it was a YouTube notification, so of course they didn't get it until after the fact, right? That's why it took hours.
They were sub Starbase 2-on-2, but just didn't get it in time.
Yeah. So it was detected last month, by the way, just so you guys know. So an SOS that's been going on for a month. Find out it's Terran, but the code hasn't been used in centuries, and its origin is in the Ficus sector. Right? Now you know.
Jazz has an interesting story about a dog sled and an igloo. If that's true, then good luck. That sounds difficult.
Stereotypes are bad. Also may not be able to finish this live. I've got to take my dog sled down. Exactly. He's making fun of stereotypes.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, because we're Canadians and, Eskimos. Oh, sorry, Inuit, because you can't say Eskimo anymore, right? Yeah.
Native Canadians, it's fine.
And somebody made a reference yesterday when the stream went down because your OBS failed about Canadian internet. Because, it's hard to keep electricity in the igloos that we live in.
It was the mooses. They were eating the cables.
It's very true.
And the Mountie managed to stop them. That's their job.
Yes.
Didn't see a single Mountie when I was in your country any of the 3 times.
Didn't you?
Very disappointing.
Well, we told them to hide the uniforms and the hats because there was a Brit here and they don't want to offend you.
What would happen if you actually walked around in that uniform? Were people like, the fuck?
Pretty much. It's only really used for ceremonies. The RCMP here are actually like special forces almost.
Yeah, it's more in the north, isn't it, anyway? Like, it's not rural.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just for like ceremonies and parades and shit. So
yeah, it's like the hats in Windsor. It's like the hats are only literally those guards in that building. That's it. There's nothing else there for. But anyway,
beefeaters.
Yeah, but I quite like this scene. I like Picard's reaction. I like this is how you show quality crew in a nice, gentle way.
Mm-hmm. And I noticed Riker when he's thinking he did this and he pulled on his.
Couple of times.
Which I do all the time.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, that's nice. That's good.
I always appreciate acting between dialogue, because the fact is, if you're in character, you shouldn't just wait for your cue. You should do something in between. And I love those small little things. That even if you're not necessarily on camera, the focus, you should be doing something because you would be doing something. So yeah, I like this scene. It's good.
Yeah, but there's no record of an Earth colony in that sector, of course. We find out it was used by this code, or this style of code, was used by the European hegemony.
Yeah.
A loose alliance formed in the 22nd century. Brexit, anyone?
Yeah.
The first stirrings of world government. You should read more books, number 1. You should know your history. Again, read a book is Picard's... That was the thing last episode, too.
Yep. And Riker's face is legit like, oh, shut up. I read enough. Wasn't it?
Yeah, he looks a little annoyed by that.
Yeah, it's like what? Because it's funny. Because 5 seconds ago, he's like, "Wait, I know all Earth transmission types. That's not one that I know." And then it's like, learned about history. He's like, "You don't know everything. I'm not allowed to know everything. Shut up." But it's nice. I like the little chemistry here.
Yeah, and it was used between 2123 and 2190. So they do assert They do a search for colony ships or whatever heading in that direction during that time, but no deep space launches were found for that sector.
It does amaze me,
So
though, how disappointed they are that they don't discover the truth, basically from 3 Google searches that the Starbase probably did as well.
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's the least effort possible. Oh, we can't discover it.
They got it. It's a month old, so the research team has had it for a while.
Wow.
And finally, the admiral's like, "Hey, you guys are near there. Check it out."
Yeah.
So it's been mulling for a month, and
It just
nobody's
makes me
figured
laugh.
it out.
Honestly, it just makes me laugh a little bit.
Yeah, but then, and this I kind of appreciate. They go back on the bridge, and we didn't see this happen. This is something that happens off screen, which is interesting because usually you'd see this happen. But Worf is down, medical emergency. Worf just collapsed. And then dun 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 credits, or title card, whatever you want.
I really wish this was a main plot of the episode.
Yeah.
Or a plot of the episode.
Yeah.
This is like, remember that sequence where Picard told Riker about an equation no one can solve?
Yes.
And it stopped, and that's it. This is like that, but it lasts for 2 scenes, not just 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to be fair, though, it is padding. At least it's characterful padding.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I said, it really builds Pulaski's character, because the next scene, he's down in sickbay, and she's scanning him, and I'm fine, Doctor. Klingons don't faint. Well, let me rephrase, she says. She says you fainted. This Klingon suffered a dramatic drop in blood pressure. His blood glucose levels dropped.
Oh, you wrote it all down.
Yeah. There was deficient blood flow resulting from circulatory failure. In other words, he curled up his toes and lay unconscious upon the floor.
Yeah.
Kind of a douchey thing to say, but at the same time, stating very clearly that you fainted.
She was going to the extreme to prove a point. It's like, well, you did do the clinical definition of fainting, so shut up. I'm the doctor. I'll call you what you are.
Yeah.
Also, Jarzy comments back to me saying, "Beavers, Samuel, beavers. They chew the cables. We ride the moose." I know. I was saying that a moose got loose. Riding it, and therefore, because they're all over the place, because you ride them, it's like horses. So I knew what I was saying.
Yep.
Don't care about beavers.
We love our beavers here in Canada.
Wow.
But
yeah, and it's not honorific, Stuart, because he has
Rapak Nagor.
And I love the pronunciation. Like, I like she's really trying.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna phonetically write that down because I didn't put subtitles on, so I didn't get it the spelling correct.
Ignore. Yeah. But it's measles, Stuart. Klingon measles.
It's a childhood ailment.
Very dishonorable.
Yes. And I love how he's like, well, how would Riker feel if he got the measles? Oh, he'd probably be pretty embarrassed. And then Picard messages down, is everything all right, Doctor? Yes, he was observing a Klingon ritual of fasting and didn't take into account that he needed to decrease his physical activity when decreasing his caloric intake. And she's got her fingers like this. She's like, I love that. She's helping out Worf. She doesn't want to embarrass him. I like Pulaski in this episode. So that says something.
Because she's not the best at bedside manner, but she does actually know when to utilize tact. Even if you don't have to verbally have tact, you can strategically have tact.
Everything she does and says, you could just transplant onto McCoy, and it would work perfectly. Something McCoy would do also.
Okay. Basically, they've tuned down the bitchiness, raised the McCoy even further, and now she works.
Yep. But there's no chemistry between her and any of the other characters, so they say, get the hell out of here.
Yeah. No, it's a good scene, although I kind of wish this was going somewhere, or there'd be a sense of, well, do we treat you? Because he just walks away like, thank you, Doctor. It's like, I mean, I guess he just rests, or not.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate Diana Mulgrew's, I think that's the name, acting in the scene, because she knows what she has to say, but she has to say it as if she's coming up with it on the spot. And she does a really great job at bullshitting, and the way she closes the channel at the end abruptly is like, yeah, thanks, Captain, bye. Whoo! I couldn't get that much fun. It's really, really good. It's a really nice little, her and Worf have a bit of fun here.
Yeah, and Worf's like, Thank you, Doctor. Like, I love that. It's a nice, subtle scene. And the chemistry was fantastic for those two characters. But, yeah, a little bit too little too late, I think, for her character. Because I don't know exactly what transpired to get Beverly back. But, anyway.
Well, I think they decided to bring Crusher back, and so they just didn't rehire. Because I'm sure they didn't put her on a multi-year contract just in case. So they just said, "Don't need to come back next year. Thanks anyway."
Yeah,
that's okay.
But Data comes in to Picard's ready room, and he's like, "I've been thinking about this situation, and even though there's no records of the launch, somebody had to load that ship. The manifest." So they look up the manifest.
So
they
there's
find
no records of a launch, but there's surviving records of the prep for the launch.
No, there was no records of a launch to that sector. That's the confusing part. And later he describes that you must have got lost in the bureaucracy of all the changing governments and stuff during the time. The files just got.
How do you connect though? Random out of the hundreds of ships possibly leaving to a ship leaving here.
That's one I don't really get.
Because they find.
Sorry, no, go ahead.
Well, they express this is the 22nd century. I mean, we know in retcon anyway, this is the NX era, so there are several ships. And it's probably is Third World War before or after? There's before Romulan War, obviously, but this war takes.
They mentioned the Third World War, right at actually in the scene.
Yeah, that's
because. So someone had to load that ship. They find the manifest. It's a Mariposa, the SS Mariposa. It's a DY-500, which is related to the DY-100, which was the Botany Bay that Khan was on.
This is a Rick Sternbach design for the spaceflight chronology. Good job for bringing it back.
Yep.
Was it in the original? I don't think this exact thing was, because it's obviously a redone.
Maybe I'd have to go take a look.
I'm going to look right now. It's probably
similar designs,
but I think this one's a cleaned up version.
But we find out from Data, it's a Spanish word for butterfly. And he goes on to babble in the background while Picard's reading off the manifest. Yeah. Certain kind of computers, comm devices, whatever, satellites. Spinning wheels. Yeah, satellites, spinning wheels, cattle, sheep, chickens. And then they say, Earth at the time was recovering from World War III. So these people wanted to leave the planet and essentially, get away from all the BS, which very topical when you think about it, but find out that Liam Deegan advocated for the return to a simpler life. So it was essentially a ship full of utopians that wanted to go start a new simple life on another thing. So that's pretty interesting. Kind of fills in the Earth history gap there a little bit.
And it is the same graphic, looks like, or just cleaned up nicely.
Yeah.
I was going to see if the actual info is the same. I love this is obviously where you got Yo-Yo dying from, because it's funny. It literally is just the same graphic, but they've upped a few details, whatever, and the the launch date's still the same. I don't know if it necessarily links properly, obviously. Or I love the fact that Data clarifies what the name of the ship is, and because it's a meta joke, because Botany Bay was the hint as to what their colony was, so it's the audience saying, who's clever enough to say, like, "Ooh, is that another Botany Bay?" No, it's a butterfly ship. Okay, this one. We're not going to give you that away yet.
Yeah, and they mention utopians and starting anew.
I love the little meta joke there.
Yeah,
really.
Dreamer out there puts in $5.
Thank you.
Gates quit the show over behind-the-scenes harassment, and after offending parties left the show after season 2, Stewart complained to get Gates back. Well, there you go. Well, and screw that new lady.
Many levels. A lot of things had to happen on both sides. I think the whole cast wanted it back.
And Jarzia again throws in another $5. Pulaski tells a white lie to respect Worf's privacy. Years later, the EMH casually tells Voyager's crew about Barclay's transporter phobia and holo addiction. Not all doctors are the same.
Also, one's real, one's
don't. No. Don't degrade his sentience.
Hey, I wouldn't
take away his personality.
I wouldn't dare degrade his holomatrix. That was done too many times in the series. And just for clarity, this is about 50 years before the NX-01 launched. So actually it fits in quite well, considering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm glad we're still kept in canon, because DYs, yay.
Yeah, that's awesome, actually. Again, respecting the source material, leaving inside canon that filled in the gaps during all those years. Good job, TNG peoples.
Remastered only, what, 5 years ago? 6 years ago? Yeah.
Yeah. This was in the original. This wasn't even the remastered thing. This was just...
I mean, they could have changed, updated it, like they've done.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It could be a Discovery ship or a Discovery shuttle, that they linked like 5 shuttles together to make some kind of deep space,
So you're saying at that point the design is over 500 years old, yeah.
Yeah.
World War One shuttle, the Discovery shuttle.
Yeah.
Phaser beams and all, yeah. This is great, and seeing Data be the discoverer of facts and Worf be the bounce off is just a nice bit of chemistry.
Yeah. So when we get down to sickbay, well, the doctor's office specifically.
Yeah.
And Worf comes in with the tea thing, and she's like, "Oh, no one has ever performed the Klingon tea ceremony for me." And then she like goes ahead and puts the beads in the pot, or the buds in the pot, whatever, and then the flowers in the cups. And Worf's like, "Huh?" She's like, "I understand the procedure, but not the mystery behind it." He says, "You must not drink the tea; it is deadly to humans." And she says, "Not too good for Klingons either." So it's to test bravery. Death should is an experience best shared. So she's like, "Just a second." She goes to the other room, immediately has an antidote on hand. For some reason, she didn't take enough time to like go to a replicator and whatever. But anyway, she comes back, injects herself, and says, "Well, we'll face this together then," which is kind of nice. This is a nice moment again. Pulaski really shining through and showing her nicer side. So, bravo, Jill. You might be right. I might start appreciating Pulaski a little bit more by the end of this season. So,
this scene is legitimately cute, and I bet these 2 actors really appreciate this sort of sequence because it's just character.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing else here to play. There's no exposition. There's no whatever. I mean, there is obviously, but it's character exposition. And the antidote thing I'm okay with because I'm sure it's a general and like anti-acid.
Maybe, yeah.
Like they didn't go into detail. I'm sure it's just like it's got what's the toxic radiation thing that killed that Russian spy, uranium or whatever. It's got like something like that, something basic like this is not good for you. This is the anti that. So it's not a unique one. But although it seems a bit, it's like when they say. Facing the Kobayashi Maru is the bravest thing you can do, even though it's not, because it's a fictitious test where there's no real threat, and you can't win. There's no bravery at all. It's the most non-brave thing. You know what I mean? So drinking a tea that won't hurt you in a way that won't kill you, and
it's symbolic.
Well, but the way he says it is like, yes, so honourable is a very brave thing to do, is to take your life in your hands and drink this tea, and it's like, no, it's not. You're just drinking a bit hard for your tea that gives you bad stomach pains because it's fun to be a bit ouchy. It's just the way... But that's why it's great. I really wish, though, that when she drank it, she'd be like, "Ooh, that burned." He's like, "I know." Like, I wish she'd had reaction, like it was actually hurting her body, rather than just like, "Oh, yeah." Like, well, I mean, what does it do to you then? You know what I mean? That would have been kind of fun.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's no threat if there's no visible damage, really. Yeah, cute. Well done, those 2. It was nice.
Yeah, and he mentioned something about poetry as well, part of the ceremony, and she's like, "Well, share some of that poetry at the end." So, again, I don't know if they wanted this to develop into a close friendship at some point, in case she did stick around. I mean, they're kind of laying some groundwork here, but again, I think just really helps her character immensely. So.
Yeah. No. Exactly.
But then we get up on the bridge, and they find the system. The sun has entered a period of severe flare activity. Well, now we know what triggered the SOS. Okay, cool. It's the 5th planet. The 5th planet is Class M. Human life form readings about 30 meters below the planet's surface. So they must have all, because of the flare activity, gone down into the caves. We've seen that. We will see that multiple times in TNG and Voyager.
I didn't consider that, but I like that, yeah.
But they try hailing and there's no response, and he's like, "What happened to all the technology? No artificial power sources are found on the planet." So, again, what happened to all the technology they took with them? But I'm thinking, it's how many 100 years old?
Yeah.
as I was saying when you were gone, actually, there's a series of books called the Dragonriders of Pern, and one of the prequel ones is called Dragon's Dawn, where the colonists go in and colonize Pern, and they have tech, but over the years the tech degrades and it's unrepairable, and then eventually they take a more primitive lifestyle, So I had no issues with that.
It's like if you go to a planet and you can't create new EPS conduits, at some point the ones you have will stop working, and you can only bring so much tech.
Yeah.
You can't bring in everything repairer or rebuilder unless you're a big Federation starship, which you can, because replicator. But they mention it at the end explicitly, but it's weird that at this point no one asks, so where did the signal come from? Yeah. Oh, it's a satellite in orbit. That's like they completely forget about that point until the end. At least they do remember it. But it seems weird saying there's no power source. Did you try checking orbit? Oh yeah, right there, sir. It's literally in front of us. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Bit weird, but whatever.
And it seems too that because of the flare activity that the SOS was triggered automatically. It wasn't like you don't get that sense though, because you think that okay, the flare activity warned them. They're now 30 meters underground. They asked for this SOS to be sent out for help. That's not what the vibe is for me. But I think a lot of people might think that based on the dialogue here. It's never really made clear that
you're meant to forget about it. You're meant to forget how they got here.
Yeah.
Like as soon as they get there, like, oh great, we'll beam. We'll get them up there, but beam down because they might be confused because even if they ask for help. So beam down and see what they're like first, which is almost equally as bad. Who knows?
Yeah. We find out there's going to be a flare, massive flare that will hit the planet in about 3 hours.
Yep.
And then Deanna goes on to say, well, we can't really. Beaming down might not be a good idea because they've been isolated for 300 years. Beaming someone down could scare them. Number one, go down with a minimal weight team.
Oh, also 115 people watching, which is brilliant, and 77 likes. But I think that should be at least 85, personally.
I think we should have 100, but we'll average out and let's say 90 likes. Let's do that. Everybody get like.
Are you daring the audience? I am.
I know that they don't have the digits required to use their mouse to hit that like button. It's the little thumbs up, in case you guys don't know. Hit it.
Do they even have the brain power? I mean, are we pushing the boundaries of what they can and can't do?
Ooh, they are watching Trekyards, so they can't be that bright. Just kidding, guys. That was self-deprecating humor. So, but sorry, we're not insulting you guys. Hit like. Just hit like. It helps us out.
We're playing very small mind games. Muhahaha.
But anyway, so then some amount of time passes. We're not quite sure how much, but we are talking to Riker. He's like, well, there's roughly 200 people down here. And it was weird because I thought we would see him initially meeting them. Not a thing. Again, no sense of how much time has passed. But roughly 200 people down here. We're having a debate with the colony's leader at the current time. And Picard's like, I don't really care. There's no time. Whatever the problem is, we can handle it up here. And you hear it in his voice. You hear it in number one's voice. He's like, all right, fine. We're going to beam up whatever they want to beam up. So I love that.
This, Captain.
Yep. He's probably thinking, I wonder how long it's going to take the janitors to get the smell of pigs and cow.
No, straight after this, Stuart, they go for a Bazon sweep thing. Just the entire ship goes.
Yeah, very on sweep. Yeah,
that's the next port call.
Dreamer out there puts in $2. Thank you. Diana Mulder did season 2 as a favor to Jean. Okay, that's why it says special guest throughout the whole season, so that's fine. Wasn't really a regular cast member. Plus, she was in TOS twice as 2 different characters, so makes sense. Jill 47 puts in $2.
Thank you.
We are not smart. We are not strong.
But we are try. And Devereaux points out, it is weird when they said 200 people. It's been 300 years. She says 300 years, but she's wrong, Deanna, at some point. Like, it's not that long. Like, she's rounding up a bit. So it's been over 200 years, and you need to set on people for a gene pool. I guess they're dying out, because that's not enough people to even keep breeding. And most of the people we see, half of them feel older than, so it's very strange. There's not that many people.
And there are 2 pregnant people because later they say how
Yes.
many, and there's 2 more expected within the next. With 223 people in total, with 2 more on the way any day.
Mm-hmm.
So I just assumed that the colony or during this flight to this place, like the long time it would take an interstellar flight like that, there was a lot of divide, and a few people, maybe 50, 60, wanted to form a little colony and didn't want any technology. So it was kind of decided, yeah, you guys are going to go on this planet. We're going to continue on to the next planet and have technology. And then, as they say, when that ship arrived at the planet, it crashed and only 5 survivors. So if this started out as a colony of 50 or 60 people, just a small town, over the course of 200, 300 years, it's too much. I can see it being, from 50 people up to, 223. I think that's fine. I don't think it was a lot. I don't think it was a lot of people that wanted to be this primitive.
Yeah, they weren't really interested in breeding them, were they? I mean, that's not. I mean, 200 years. That's what.
Yeah, I know.
8 generations.
You'd have to do the math on it, but yeah, it's never said how many people wanted to split off and form this colony initially. So there's that.
And my assumption was even that the original ship, it wasn't like it was one set of people. It was, hey, can we book passage on your ship? Or are you going out there? Yeah, sure. With science people, you're the, they're not like one group. It was 2 groups that got passage. They dropped them off, and then they,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it seems very strange, especially as the other colony needs people. So you would assume if they just said 600 people, then okay, good, that's enough for a gene pool. But 200 is not a lot.
Well, yeah, they make that point too, that it's not a good base for civilization. So
we'll get there when we get there, because that's obviously jumping ahead to the second half of the plot. We haven't got the Irish yet. But then suddenly, the Irishman beams up Irish people, including the pregnant director's wife. Or the director's pregnant wife. And their goat.
Yes. And chaos ensues.
It's great.
It is. And Picard and Worf are strolling down because they're like, you got to meet these people. And a chicken flies out, and the little girl comes in, laughs at them, and leaves. And I love how it's, the guy's like, "Oh, O'Brien, I should have known there was an Irishman in command of this, or not command, because he knows who Captain Picard is because of Riker." But, great. It was fantastic.
They're having fun, and you can feel it in everyone's performances.
Yeah.
And everyone also feels weird about this, because they are, remember, cardboard sets. These look beautiful, but if one of these pigs decides to run quickly, you could probably bash through the wood. You know what I mean? It could probably drastically damage these sets.
And Nathan, head actor, says, "I never got why O'Brien beamed up the straw from the floor. I mean, we never see that. Usually bits of grass and stones or soil beamed up with people." That's because of the debate they were having. Because you need hay and straw and stuff to not only feed the animals, but also bed them to keep them warm. So, of course, the Irish would be like, "Hey, we got to take the fences and the straw, and we need our livestock. We need all this stuff going up." And Riker's like, the animals maybe, and that's the whole debate that was going on when he said to Picard, "Yeah, we're having a bit of a debate right now." And Picard's like, "Just beam everything up.
Yeah,
we'll deal with it here." That's kind of the vibe that I got from that, because the transporters can filter out anything that's not biological, such as dirt or whatever. So,
2 quick things. And people saying pretty high mortality rate, infant mortality because of primitive again. Yeah, possible. Simple lifestyle.
I would buy that.
A few colonists, lots of deaths. Yeah, fair enough. And they say, are they drunk towards racist towards Irishmen? It's like, I mean, considering other things at the time, it's not particularly racist. It's just this is an Irish colony.
Yeah.
And about the straw thing, I mean, I can imagine that, Riker explicitly said what he wanted O'Brien to do. It's like, "O'Brien, we're going to beam some animals up. Could you do a wide beam, everyone in the vicinity, including the straw? Don't ask. You'll see." "Really? Can't be okay with that?" "No, but he said do it anyway." "All right then, sir." Like, it was just, they did it, but it wasn't an accident. It was obviously deliberate. Although obviously they can make more hay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And Ian, he is leaving. He says, "Good night, folks." And he dropped a small PayPal before he left. So that is here. We have $5 Canadian. On dates and info I pulled from the screens. Yes, that's Mary Poser herself was launched in 21.
Go again. You died. Sorry. Not my fault.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, he says, it's nice to join you live, albeit briefly. Here's some dates and info I pulled from the screens. The SS Mariposa herself was launched in 2123 under the command of Walter Granger, but the first ship sent to this sector was the SS Hokul A, a DY 500C launched 2102, commanded by Melinda Songrass. By coincidence, Melinda Songrass wrote the episode Up the Long Ladder. And a VK Verican, a DY 1200, was launched in 2160, commanded by Gene Roddenberry, with a mission to explore strange new worlds. For comparison, the Enterprise Annex 01 launched in 2151. So Gene's ship launched 9 years later.
That nice. Sounds like from one of the older encyclopedias. That's very much retconned out. But thank you.
Still cool information. I love that stuff.
It is. But DY is not flying with NX-01 was flying as a primary thing. No.
Well, in the Ships of the Line, we see them with warp nacelles attached. Just saying.
But Mr. Irishman instantly is very, very respectful to Picard. You own the ship. No. I'll be in control of it. I have a daughter. Good for you. Would you be interested? No. Are you sure? Mr. Worf is like, are you sure? You're sure. I'll get a leave. And it's like, wow.
Well, slightly before that scene,
yes.
Picard's like, beam all these people and things to Cargo Bay 7, and then just beam up everybody else to Cargo Bay 7. Now, the thing that bothers me about this is there's more than one transporter room on this ship.
Plenty.
There's like 6, at least, that are this size, plus cargo transporters. So, I don't know. Anyway.
But do you know why they didn't use cargo transporters in this scene?
Why?
Because the cargo transporter set was the cargo bay set, which was currently the cargo bay set with straw. And it would take too long in the production cycle to do both. So they did one. Because you're right. I mean, why would you just do cargo? I mean, you've got bigger things for a reason. Use them. Especially, it's weird how the ticking clock element just leaves.
Yeah.
Quick, before they all die, we have time to chat. It's fine. But it's still, I mean, I kind of like, in a small way, that this guy is trying to marry off his daughter, because I'm guessing he's thinking that if he marries the daughter to the captain, then by extension, he's the captain's father-in-law, so he gets to stay on the ship and have power and have a nice life. I mean, you might as well, because I want a happy life after this. Where am I going? If I can marry into this ship's command structure, I'll do it. Weird.
Yeah, and the guy's name's Danny O'Dell. I don't know if he said that yet. But
he's a fun. I like him. He does his job well. He commits fully.
Yes. And Thribs throws in £5.
Thank you.
And question: favorite weapon, Crimson Force Field or photonic cannon? I like the photonic cannon idea. I would prefer a photonic shotgun though. Ooh. Sounds better. But yeah, the Crimson Force Field just sounds like something out of
Flash Gordon.
Well, I was going to say Tom Paris's Proton.
That's close enough.
Yeah.
Power the Crimson Force Field!
No, never, Chaotica.
They're going to be fun to review when we get to those in like 6 years.
Yeah, it's going to take forever to get there, but we'll get there.
This is a weird episode. It really is, but they had fun making it, writing it, acting it, and you can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I love the annoyance of Picard. It's like, oh.
But and he's taking it. He is completely dealing with it in a respectful
and the whole.
way.
This is Mr. Worf, my head of security. Well, you must not have any security issues then. And then the little stare down between Worf and him before Worf gets in the turbolift, and then the little sideways look at Picard of like, oh, good God.
They let moments breathe in this episode, and it's all the better for it. And I love that. Because, I mean, theoretically, logically, at the time they launched, the Vulcans had made contact, so they do know aliens exist. So therefore, he didn't say, what is that? He's reacting as a, wow, that's an odd alien. Cool. So actually, that does actually kind of work. That he doesn't go too far, because he knew aliens at that point.
Yep, yep.
It's cool, actually. They lucked out on that one.
Yes. But we get the conference room scene next. They're chatting about it. 223 have arrived with 2 more on the way any day.
So
And she's very happy and chipper.
It's a really
Yep, she's very happy and chipper and smiley. It's nice. Good Pulaski episode, like I said. And then, of course, there's a fire in Cargo Bay 7. Oh, the Breen-Loidy. What have they done to my ship?
That's great. Yep. He's like, he's had enough 1 hour in of these people.
Yeah.
He likes a quiet ship. And he hasn't had a fire in the ship for any day so far. And he's like unlock them. Like he's locked them in because they set a fire. He just unlock the door.
Yeah. The fire's out. We can unseal the door. It's like, good job. They might be terrified and scared, but let's lock them in.
Yep.
I mean, ship safety, the needs of the many, all that. Anyway, so we get
the needs of the sausages.
Right.
To cook on the fire.
I know. Once the door opens, they're like, "Oh, there was lightning from the ceiling. What's going on? Oh, that's just a force field. It put out the fire. What if I had been, within, what if it had gone around me? Then you would have been in the fire, and you would have suffocated to death." I love it. It's just like to the point.
That line, then he would have been in the fire. Maybe laugh out loud because it's such a wonderfully knowledgeable statement. It's like, yes, you idiot, you would be dying in the fire. That is fine. It's a stupid question. I love it. It's a good line. It's a great line.
But then we see they obviously tried to make a fire to cook some food, and we're now dealing with Brina Odell and
Riker's first face. My God.
Riker's smooth, and the way he's looking at her, she's like, "What are you staring at? Have you not seen a woman before?" And it's smooth as silk. I thought I had. It's great. Now it's not Spock smooth. Because in the episode with the planet Stratos, she's like, "I've never seen a Vulcan before." He's like, "Nor have I seen a work of art before, ma'am." And even Kirk was like, "Damn, son, I'm going to be using that later."
Yeah.
Here's a free one for you guys.
Oh God.
The most beautiful Kirk. Hey, I love that response. That's great.
It wasn't even a second of hesitation, was there?
No. The most beautiful curve on a woman is her smile. That'll get you chicks every day.
And the curve of her high heel as it's choking you in bed.
Wow. That went somewhere.
I like that. Was that good?
That's good.
And so is Riker's face. I mean, I'll be honest. This is the most standout silly thing in the episode. His fuck with her. I mean, that's it. That's all it is. Like, it's. I mean, to be fair, it's just like, concerning adults, but that's the weirdest thing in this episode is that. Not the Irish racism, it's this.
Yeah. And Joseph Murdet says, "Rosalind Landor was in the 80s Sherlock Holmes Speckled Band." Thank you so much for pointing that out. Yes, that was the Jeremy Brett Speckled Band, and that's exactly where I know her from. It's been nagging at me. Thank you for putting those pieces together now. Thank you. Because all my life, I'm like, she's very attractive. She's very familiar, too. I never put 2 and 2 together, but now, thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
But what do you think of her in this role?
Oh, my God. I love her. I don't know. She reminds me of Sylvia in some points, just their kind of brashness, to the pointness. I don't know. I think she's fantastic. Little bit too much. Little bit. Just chill out, sweet cheeks. Oh, that'll get me in trouble.
But you do quite like powerful women, don't you?
I never thought I did, but yes, I do. You learn a lot about yourself when you get older. Like the past relationships have failed. But we're not going to get into the whole my relationships thing.
No. I like her. I mean, it'd be kind of nice. She does feel like the de facto leader of the group without any explicit saying so. but it's played in a good way. Like no one else, because I felt they have such a chill life on their planet. Like they're just there to kind of be with nature. They're not because they're not striving for advanced technology or you know what I mean. There's no goal except in like living life, and therefore, yeah, if you've lived a hard life, you had kids as the dad, it's like you've done your job. You raised a good daughter, and she's like, well, I haven't done my bit yet. Jesus Christ, guys, come on. You know, she's a bit more. I actually want to do something. Even if that's just improving life for everyone. So I get the sense she's of the leader pact, but I like they're not going whichever. But it is, you know, she has some weird turns in this one with Riker especially.
Yeah,
but she's certainly fun to watch in the sense that it's not the character you expect to see, but she certainly stands out.
Yeah. Then we get a great Picard moment. He just starts laughing about the absurdity of the situation. He's like. Oh. And Riker's like, this surprises me. Sometimes you just have to bow to the absurd, he says.
Love that.
I love it. It reminded me of you and I, because a lot of times I get grumpy if things don't go my way, or if I'm in a situation I'm not very on top of. But every now and then I'm just like, just embrace it. And you'd be like, what? You're having fun? You got that stick out of your ass, Captain? Oh, that's awesome. Sorry, moving on.
No, I agree, and this is again a turn you wouldn't expect to write, but the writer kind of got these people in like we can actually take them further than the show normally lets them do, because he's like, this is real animals, like this is real life stuff, you know what I mean? I eat meat, but it's fake meat. You know, I have clothing that all digitally made. In essence, this is real. I haven't seen this stuff in years, and it's humans. Like I'm sure he's really kind of. The old romantic in him is like, I'm going to actually just embrace this. You know? Now they're settled, they're not making that much noise. This is kind of cool. And I can imagine if you were like a camera crew on this ship, I bet he probably talked to a few of them, just like, so what do? You know what I mean? I bet he kind of like asked about some things, and actually, like, if he had a free hour, he would just hang out with them for a little bit. At this point, now he's like sold on them. Maybe not the dad. He's like, I'd rather not talk to you because you're annoying. But everyone else.
Well, Jarzia throws in $5.
Thank you.
When the Cardassian woman was hot for Orion, we see the opposite of being smooth. Could have let her down easy, but he dropped her from orbit.
Oh. That's good. I like that.
That is good. But Riker says, you know what, I'm going to stick around, maybe help her out. Because Riker...
panties.
Right. I didn't want to go there, but thank you, Commander. We make a great team, you and I.
Okay.
And he's like, it's not necessary. The ship will clean itself.
Well, hold on. Picard's smile is like, He knows what's happening in the script later on. And Patrick Stewart's put that in the performance. Sorry, had to point that out. It's so obvious.
If the ships are rocking near your quarters, I won't come a knocking. It's fine. But yeah, he's like, it's not necessary. The ship will clean itself. Well, good for the bloody ship.
It's good.
It's just great.
Yeah.
And then she asks, where does a girl go to wash her feet on this ship? Yeah. I thought the same thing. It was a little bit of a jump right there, but...
The real problem is the shift in the music cue, because it goes from this very sort of like tete for tete with the straw, and then just like moves it to the side, stands up, and an entire demeanor changes. The music goes all soft and flirty, and it's like she just moves straw. Like it's such a radical shift. I guess she's thinking, I haven't seen a man this handsome before. I'm just gonna go fuck him. I guess it's just primal at that point. Well, no, seriously, that's all they're doing. There's just, I guess it's just chemistry because.
Or maybe she's realizing the absurdity of the situation herself, and like this is just a weird day. She's going to take advantage of this.
Do you think that because they say ship, they all say the word ship. They don't understand a computer. Do you think they understand they're in a spaceship, or do they more? It has been so long, or do they just think a vessel and not quite understand the concept of a spaceship anymore, given the time?
I think they understand the concept of a spaceship just fine.
Okay.
Because as I said, even with Dragonriders of Pern, that lasted quite a few centuries where they were like still knew about the technology. Okay. And then it eventually became like legendary and kind of myth, and then they found some old tech. So I don't see them not understanding that.
Okay.
But then then it comes out with, have you heard anything from the other colony? And it's like, another colony? Whether they thought it was another colony on the planet, I really doubt, because we actually find out that there's a Class M planet about half a light year from there, which annoys me because they're at warp. How long does it take to do half a light year?
Well, not seconds, but
at warp 8.
Well, I mean, how far is the? I mean, I did actually do some research on this the other day. How far is our solar system a light year along? I don't think it is it? It's more than. As in, a light year is more than our solar system.
I think so. Yeah. It takes 8 minutes for light to get from the sun to the Earth. So, while you're looking that up, Jarzia puts in $5. When the Cardassian woman was... Oh, we already read that one. Story.
More than you'd think, actually. 1 light year. So, it only goes to 5 light years in this graph, but then you divide by 5. 5 years at warp 1. So, take 1 year at warp 1 for 1 light year. Mm-hmm. Give me a warp factor that you think they'll realistically go, because obviously we can go faster or slower.
3.
Oh, okay. Warp 3 is a year. So, 3 months to go a light year.
So half a light year would be a month and a half.
Sorry. 2 months. Wrong side. 2 months. So
gotcha.
So 2 months.
So they would probably go to warp 5, 6 then? A couple hours?
No, you'd be looking at... It's weird, because even warp 6 is 5 days. For 5 light years, so that's still a day. Warp 7 is 3 days, so that's 15 hours. So warp 8, 2 days. For 5 light years, so 2 days, 48 hours divided by 5 is 9 hours. So even at warp 8, it's still a while.
Okay, then I have no issue with that. I just thought it'd be a lot quicker. Jeff Jacobs puts in $2.03, 103 likes. Awesome. Again, 135. Hashtag Pulaski like Spike. Sweet. And we have 130 people watching. Guys, everybody hit like. I love those numbers. Thank you. I'm glad you guys are here. We were having fun on this one. At least I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're not, I'm sorry.
No, I as you know, I enjoyed scene by scene stuff. I love looking at little things, and you always do good pictures, do good stills. So I'm enjoying it. I will say I love this turn because the episode is just sort of going, but it's not going anywhere in particular at this point. And this shift is very like, oh, cool. But it makes sense. Like, it's a mystery you forget about. You're so taken by the complete absorption of these Irish people that you forget about the tech stuff. So it's like, oh, okay. Part 2, I guess. So I actually really like the turn. Yeah, I think it's good. Oh, yeah. But then, instantly, however long's passed, but within the tour is his quarters. His quarters is part of the tour. Very forward. Where can you wash my feet? Oh, over there. And then
before that, she walks in and says, "You're a mess, Mr. Riker," and starts cleaning up. The first thing she does when she walks through the door.
Powerful woman. She is not doing that shit.
You don't need to do that.
The computer will do it for you. It'll beam stuff back into the cupboard.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if he said that? It's like, what does the computer not do?
Yeah, and then she gets right to the foot thing, and he's like, "Oh, is there any special technique for this foot washing?" Well, you generally start at the top and work your way down.
No, we should start at the bottom and work way up. That's what I'd do for feet, but okay.
That's what I would do too. But I think she wanted the whole body experience.
I mean,
she just didn't want the clean feet, and then like, oh well, we're done.
Wouldn't it be great if you pulled out a sponge and starts dabbing her face? Right, start at the top.
Well, he takes her hair down. That's a thing.
He does.
I love how she just takes her skirt off, and you get the midriff action. It's like, whoa. That had me hot and bothered back in the day. It still works.
It's a good belly. It's as a good belly. It makes me, the way it's played, it's like, I'm going to take the skirt off to reveal another skirt.
The underskirt. That's like sexy.
I know.
And actually, earlier when she asked about her feet and she pulled up her skirt, it's like seeing ankles. Ooh.
I was thinking that. But remember, guys, this is her descendants were born in the 2110s. So, these are 100 years from now, people. The ankles aren't back to being a thing. But I just love the way it plays. Like, here's my skirt, my other skirt. But you're right, it's like I've doubled my midriff, and that's what you're going to find sexy.
Yes.
I love a little jumper. Who does a jumper like that? It's like a midriff design jumper. I love it.
I have no issues with it. I love it.
But can you imagine though, a farmer who's got sheep? He's like, right, whatever her name is, right? The what do you want? Well, I want a jumper, right? For cold winters, yes. That covers my arms, yes, and stops about 1 millimeter after my breasts. Are you sure? Yes. It's like I make out your fine sheep's wool
and full sleeves.
That. Yeah,
and full sleeves. I'm sure she made it herself though. Just saying.
It's even worse. No, she just stopped.
Maybe she ran out of wool.
Yeah, but if you did sleeves first, yeah.
Devo77X says, which is more common in Canada, Irish accents or Scottish accents? None.
Yeah, neither, I would think.
We got a very weird, eclectic blend of everything. And yeah, not very many heavy British or Irish or Scottish accents.
You don't know how many accents really have you? Well, like strong accents. I assume they're all sort of homogenized now.
More or less, yes. But we got a lot of new immigrants and stuff, so we have some very thick,
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, that's
Yeah, this is the thing that, like I said, stands out the most. It's out of nowhere. Honestly, I said out loud, Riker's a man slut, in the first scene, and I said, I guess she's a woman slut, which I feel is okay to say now because he was man slut first. I think just sluts have found each other. Honestly, they're just like, I mean, why not? We're both hot. Let's just do it. You know what I mean?
It's been a weird day. Let's just,
yeah,
cap it off.
Because it's so unearned, But it's, yeah, why not?
And I wonder if his connection with Deanna, if she like senses this kind of shit going on whenever he's getting frisky.
I did think, like, she's right on board, dude. Do you have to plow every alien chick when your ex-girlfriend's right there that still loves you, that you're gonna get married to? Come on. It's all good.
But then they're trying to set up their still, and they're like, we need to heat this, so what about the fire? And Worf's like, well, we have... It's not that replicated stuff that, O'Brien was telling me about, is it? No, it can be real alcohol if you wish. With all the... with whatever effects he says. So they go to the replicator, they ask for whiskey. They didn't say non-synthaholic whiskey. There was no specific command, which bothered me. There should have been. But he tries it, and it's swill. He doesn't like it. And then, of course, he orders some Klingon brew, which at first has dry ice in it, and then the next scene clearly doesn't. Well, that's all right. Drinks it, and he does the whole comedic reaction face, and he loves that stuff. So
hits the damn spot.
And then the sex with Riker must have been awful because she's in a bitchy mood. Yells at him from across the cargo bay. And comes storming over, and he's like, "Oh, I remember that pain I was telling you about. It's about to begin." So anyway, a great scene. This is where she says Pulaski wants to send our children to school with the ship's children, and he's like, "What do you think of that?" And she's like, "I think it's a good idea," which I didn't think she'd say, but she's very open-minded apparently. And he's like, "Well then," she's like, "Well, you should probably go get on that. So stop drinking." And then she gives Worf shit, which I love, because he's a big burly Klingon. He's about to walk away, and she's like, "Hey, you! Why'd you tell him about this magic wall? You'll never get anything done." I love his reaction. "Have you ever considered a job in security?" Well, if it's anything like babysitting, I'm an authority. Yep. Awesome.
They're playing fun at everything, but in a very like everyone's in on it way.
Yeah.
But a couple of my comments. First of all, I thought that the still I thought he was going to shoot a phaser at it and have a bit of fun with that, and he's just like, "Oh my god, that worked!" Like I thought that they were going to do that. Then they get to the replicator, and I thought you couldn't replicate real alcohol. I thought that was part of the point.
I thought that was part of the point
like
too.
Like an explicit, you don't do. That's why they've synthahol, because otherwise
you have to get the real stuff. You have to go down 10 forward and have it out of a bottle that was picked up on a planet. Whatever.
Because that was a big deal. It's like, there's nothing real here, but Guinan keeps a special real alcohol. Like, that was an entire plot point. So this feels very disingenuous to me. And it's
it does.
Like, I mean, I guess, why not?
It's very contrived and convenient for this scene, that's all.
But I mean, why wouldn't you better do real booze? It's just chemical bonds. If you can make soup, you can make booze.
Or maybe maybe Worf was just lying to him, just
See,
so
that could be fun.
Drink some synthahol. I'll say it's real.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, because he never tried Brian synthahol. How the hell would he know? You know. But I do love the Klingon gag. I think that's great because it doesn't need to be booze for it to really affect him, does it? Like
No.
you can just mess with his brain. And I kind of wish he went further with the acting. Not in the first half when he's talking to his daughter, because I wish like he's literally going. I would love to see him go from sober to full on drunk, hammered, because 2 sips. That's all it takes for that drink to just fuck him up. And he'd be like, "Yeah, are you okay for this? I'm not okay for anything." Like I would love that one more level, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun. They're having fun.
But they find the other planet, and
M class. Looks M class to me, doesn't it?
No, it definitely looks like a gas giant.
Yep. Or at least a very, very, very desert planet with a big.
Or very cloudy.
Yeah.
Avenue Pad puts in $5 Canadian. Canada oddly has a very diverse array of dialects. Cape Breton, Newfoundland are very strong accents. You can spot certain Ontario and BC accents as well. Yes, absolutely 100% true. You can't understand a goddamn word a Newfie is saying. A Newfie is just somebody from Newfoundland. It's not a derogatory term.
Obviously, we meant other country accents, not specifically Canadian accents. But yes, that's interesting.
Yes.
I mean, because of how England is spread out, we've got the most accents in the world for spacing because the country's so small, but we have so many different variations because we're so packed in relative to population. Obviously, you know.
Well, oddly enough, we're packed in too because we're all like. Not 80 some odd percent of our population is within certain distance of the U.S.
50
border.
miles?
Yeah, something. No, it might be more than that, but it's ridiculous compared to the size of our country.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of inhospitable, areas. So.
And Pillow commenting on the whole booze thing. Real alcohol, just not the regular choice. It's not respectable in 23rd century, and I can imagine that it's available to be done, but there's like a basic override of it won't let it be done because it would be unsafe.
Mm-hmm.
Because people can get drunk, within minutes if you just keep ordering real booze.
And push an airlock button. Ooh.
Yeah, especially if people aren't used to the. I mean, come on, if you haven't ever drank in your life, except illegally or whatever. So I can imagine it's like hollow safety protocols. It never does the real thing. Because if it tastes like the real thing and doesn't get you drunk.
Unless you specifically ask for it. And what's bothered me about that scene is he just asked for whiskey with no override of the computer, no stating that want real alcohol.
Yep.
If that had been there, I would have been fine with it. But that just bugged me a little bit.
Well, and if it said like security override, make kind of a joke out of it. It's like you have to have legitimate security override. Life or death.
Too bad he hadn't tried prune juice at this point. Try some prune juice. Maybe I'm like that. But he hasn't experienced prune juice yet. So.
Yeah. But yeah, M class. And I do like the shift in this episode. It's fun. It's different. I like this actor. I think with what he's given, he has an interesting vibe. And in fact, when watching this little moment, I was thinking, I will film you in something similar to this for Convergence. Like, I need to get you like costume like this. You know what I mean? Like, trying to costume is going to be kind of tricky. Just something like this is like this was okay for TNG. A white jacket buttoned up with 2 straps of wool. That was alien. You know what I mean? So all I have to do, Stuart.
Well, we get introduced to this Wilson Granger, who's the Prime Minister of Mariposa. So they named the colony after the ship, and this is Wilson Granger, who is a descendant of Walter Granger, who was the captain of the Mariposa. So
he clarifies not an ancestor. Like he has a fun little. Well, not exactly. They say your ancestor of, which I like. It's subtle, but he's. No, I like that. It's a nice attention to detail.
And we find out that he's hiding something.
Yes.
Because Deanna senses something.
I mean, the fact is, though, surely every single, even just base Terran descendant is hiding something. They're not going to tell us all their proper problems. Oh, they're not going to tell us about their terrorism. Oh, they're not going to tell us, like, is everyone that honest? Surely she always senses they're hiding something. It's so unspecific.
I need something to do this episode, otherwise I'm going to get Tasha Yard.
I know. Wouldn't it have been great, though, if, as Riker, because I see Riker in the still, if Riker walks off and Troy says to Picard, Commander Riker is hiding something. He just slept, and then she asks him later, it's like, you slept with her? That's what you're hiding from me? I could sense you're hiding something.
And Area 51
Hey!
says, Trekyards, all in favor of keeping up a screen cap of the hot Irish babe for the whole stream. Say, hashtag hot Irish babe. You could put it in a little box in the top,
I guess.
of the L-cars there.
If
And
we
have it
get-
be the one with her midriff where she dropped her skirt.
If we get a $20 super chat, I will have a picture of her up the entire time.
That is blackmail, but I love it. I love it.
I mean, the fan brought it up.
Trekyards pimpin'. Pimpin' ain't easy.
Appreciating an AA. Appreciating.
Appreciating the beauty of...
$20. There you go.
That's a great goal. I like that.
Because, I mean, that is a big part of what we get each Trekyards live stream. Like, that, jumps us in a rank of to Like, we don't get that much, so 20 is a big deal.
Yes. But yeah, so they beam down.
And did you notice they definitely cut? This was a weird edit because they're beaming, but the actors are clearly already think they've been beamed because they're already moving and starting to talk, and they've obviously cut the scene down by 10 seconds. They've left out, but they still have to have the effect.
I think they added the effect one. That'd be cool, but yeah, they're already moving for the edit. So whatever, nobody will notice.
Yep.
It's fine.
Yep. There's a little. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is, triplets? And then quadruplets. Whoa. Weird.
And I really kind of wish they'd played up the hiring triplets or twins gag more.
Well, they hired they hired a couple of triplets. The three girls are triplets. The one that walks in is obviously just one of them it was a cut.
Yeah.
But then, there's the three black guys that are triplets that you see at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But you see him here by himself, and you don't see anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they could have added more. Just twins, just walking.
This guy Pulaski is just the president, just with different hair. That's why they're like, huh?
Yeah.
Because he's wearing such a different outfit and his hair's different, you don't exactly clock he's the same guy. It's filmed quite cleverly.
But he had the same last name when he introduced himself.
Yeah.
And Riker's like, twin brother?
Yeah. So he does.
It was a great lead-in.
I like the simple things, opposite colours. But I wish they'd done more with a gag of the triplets, because it's like in Terminator 2, they get so much value out of having Sarah Connor, the actress, have a twin, and they use that heavily to make the effect work.
And the security guard.
Exactly.
That's the coffee, yeah.
No CGI needed. Just make sure you guys are the same weight, at the same time, the same haircut, the same facial hair. Great.
Daisy Ridley has an identical twin as well?
Not identical. She has two twins, but
close enough.
Very close. Yeah.
Yes.
Very, very close.
Anyway, this is actually again, Pulaski episode. She's got a little scanner. She's scanning the guy. She's looking at the the sculpture, and then they walk into Granger's office.
And she is right in.
And Riker takes a double take. He looks at the guy that let him in, and what? Yeah. And then the first words out of her mouth. Is your entire population made up of clones, Prime Minister? And the look on Riker's face, it was great. It was a great Pulaski moment for sure. She's definitely on top of things.
Yeah, no, I agree. I actually really like this little bit, because it's not that they're going to hide it from her, but it's a great little character moment of she knew something was up. She smelled clone in the air.
And Pixels at dawn puts in 2 pounds. Twins or Cylons? Fracking skin jobs.
I did think that at the end. Yeah.
But anyway, we find out that he asked for their help. He tells the story of when they arrived, that the ship crashed and only 5 colonists survived. So
3 guys, 2 girls, not enough to actually do a population. But the scientists, they worked out a way which was cloning to allow them to be more. Well, I wonder if they clone to be young and then grow, because if you have 5 people, you're not going to wait 20 years to have the cloned kids grow up. So they probably cloned adults to be adults, and then at some point cloned kids, because if you clone adults to be adults, they're going to look so similar. But if you clone them as children, then they could evolve to look differently in the situation they're in.
Yeah.
If you make one go to the gym every day since he was 5, he will look different by the end. I wonder if that was
Yeah.
ever... I'm thinking too much into it, but a clone culture is a very weird concept.
Yes. But we found out, because she asked, how did you suppress the natural sexual drives?
Yeah.
Well, we used drugs and punitive laws at the beginning, but now we find, it's repugnant to even think about that kind of thing.
But I like he's not disgusted. It's a nice tone of like, yeah, it was just it's. I wish he said icky. That I think is a better word. We just find it.
But he
icky.
uses repugnant twice, and I think it's such a strong word.
Yeah.
With such a strong meaning behind it, just to really get the point across, to drive it home.
But he's not saying it in a mean way.
No.
He's just like, that's weird.
And she asks, how do you cope with the problem of replicative fading?
Isn't that a great term? I really like that term as a technical term.
And I love how Riker's like, I don't understand what that means. It's pretty simple if you just listen to the words, but whatever. For the audience, here we go.
Well, Stuart, his brain is post-coital, so he's not all there.
This is true. And he is really lounged back. He's like very comfortable right now.
He's thinking about something else. He's not there at the meeting. He's like this.
So she explains it's a copy of a copy, much like if you photocopy a piece of paper and then you photocopy the copy, it eventually just gets degraded. So they want fresh DNA, and they're like, well, you're not going to clone us. And I love that it's Riker that says this. One Riker is unique, maybe even special, but 100 of him, 1,000 of him diminishes me in ways I can't even imagine. Meanwhile, Thomas Riker is somewhere on a planet right now,
trying to survive better.
An exact copy of you. It's not a clone. It is you. I just found that kind of ironic.
Well, it's a transporter clone. I mean...
it's still not a clone. It's still him.
Well...
You know what I'm saying?
But it's not him anymore because he's had different experiences.
I know.
It's him from the past with different... Yeah. It's so ironic. Like, it's just dripping with unintended... Like, there should be a hard cut in the edit from that to him being like... I hate my life! Cut back. That'd be a good little sequence.
Yeah. And the guy is confused as to why he thinks this way. He's like, you would be preserving yourself. Well, we have other ways of doing that. We have children. And I love how they look at Pulaski. Pulaski's the same thing.
Yep.
Picard also nods his head no. He says, I think you'll find that with most of the Enterprise crew.
Well, no, he says all. He actually says
all. Does he? Because, I think one or two
twice.
people might be going, it's fine.
Yeah, I was surprised by that because these guys are explorers. There's over 1,000 people on the ship. I guarantee at least a few would say yes, just because they would.
Or an alien race that's serving in Starfleet that doesn't think it's a problem.
Yeah, I was really surprised how blatantly fuck off they were. Honestly, it's like I'll ask the crew because it's kind of an interesting thing. They're scientists. They're on the flagship. This is an interesting experiment. I thought it was a bit dismissive. I know we have to get the conflict, but he can't really speak for 1,000 different people here.
Yeah.
That's just me. Not that I would want it done personally, but again, I'm not 1,000 people.
Number one special, because I refuse to call you no one special, puts in $10.
Very special.
Love when I can make the live. Sorry I could not help. In the hard months, they hit me too. It's understandable. Thank you very much for showing up.
Just being here is
and Eugene,
something. Thank you.
And Eugene follows up with 500 rubles. 5 people is enough for a stable gene pool. The real problem is if they're too enlightened to procreate biologically.
I mean, I talked to my dad about this because he likes this sort of stuff. He said, no, you need 500 is the number you need for a stable gene pool, not 5, because otherwise then you're having sex with your cousins within one generation.
Yeah, exactly.
So no, I 500 is my dad. My dad's reasonably smart at these sorts of things, so he says 500.
Yeah, I would buy that.
Yeah,
for $1 or $500.
Yeah. Oh, Thribus says I wouldn't mind a clone of me. Actually, guys, let's do a quick little poll. And we've got 132 people watching. In this situation, would you grant this humanoid, semi-alien, race access to your DNA to create a clone to be part of their society? Yay or nay?
I would, personally, because you can't get enough Captain Foley, first of all. Second of all, it would be good.
You.
No, it'll be somebody on a different planet that's having different experiences. It won't be me. Plus, if I ever need organ donation, I know where to go.
Yeah.
So, I would say maybe, yeah. That might be interesting.
Put yes or no in the comments, guys. I
really
want to know.
We got a yes, please, clone away, yes, no, no, yes. See, just from that sampling right there, Picard is full of shit. Because at least 40% of the crew would probably say, sure, why not?
Yeah, I would say, honestly, out of 1,000, 50 people would be yes. Instantly. You know? And that's not a lot, but it's definitely more than 5.
I would buy 50 out of 1,000. I think that's perfectly...
And you'd have like 7 aliens, and they'd politely say, we've had the same 5 faces for 300 years. We're not going to want aliens. We're still a little bit racist because we have the same 5 faces. Let's start with humans and go from there. But it also occurred to me that theoretically, right, they've got the DNA, they've got cells and DNA on file from people of the past. I mean, couldn't they give cells from people before?
But then you got to take into account the families of those people, whether they would want that, whether that would be against their rights, and it just opens up a whole moral dilemma, which Star Trek is great at. But I don't think they had the time to get into all that.
Yeah.
If this was just a standalone, just the clone part, not the other colony, maybe that would be extended in that episode.
That'd be a good full episode, honestly, if you go into it properly as like a deep dive.
It would be a good legal one again, whether it's legally acceptable to do that with dead people.
And there is a segment later on that we'll go into about is it legal to what they're doing. But there might be that line of, I mean, if DNA is on file, how can you clone DNA in a file? Do you need living cells? Is that the catalyst? They still have living cells frozen. You know, once you they're cloning clones, so they're cloning a clone and keeping, that's why they're going wrong. Because if you can clone the original cell on file, they would clone the original bodies and be fine. They're also having to clone living cells, so I guess they only have access to the crew here.
Ginkgo Yoki, though, puts in $2.
Thank you.
This episode, Star Trek Clone Wars. It's great.
I like it.
All right, so they decide instead they're going to send some people down to repair the malfunctioning equipment at least. So we're going to put together a team of technical people to go down and do that.
It's not a ploy at all, is it, Stuart? It's not a thinly veiled ploy.
It didn't feel like it with the way it was. With the way it kind of went into it.
They haven't mentioned faulty machinery into this point. He's like,
they have. But they did. They mentioned it earlier.
What do they say?
That we're having issues with some of our equipment. Can you help us out? It was one of the first things they talked about when they went into the room after the whole cloning thing.
Okay, I just watched it, but I don't remember that. But I thought it was really strange. I took it as they hadn't mentioned it, and then they suddenly said, but you can help us fix our broken equipment, right? Send down maybe 50 engineers, at least 10 women, 12 blacks, 2 Asian.
We'll take a couple of blondes, some redheads. And they got Irish aboard. There's some redheads there. We'll take those. They're not technical, but that's okay.
That's why I took from it. All healthy, no diseases.
Well, I love how they send down the blind guy. Nobody touches him. It's like, he's no good. We can't.
Yeah, I clocked that, actually. Well, no, they keep him okay because he's the one that says, where'd you guys go? That's why.
Yeah, but because he was blind, I think is why they didn't take his DNA. Because he was born blind. Not that they would know that necessarily, but it's a defective DNA element.
I can see that. Yeah, certainly.
That's what I've always thought watching this, over the years. So.
But yeah, it's very abrupt, this bit where they come in and say hi and they get phasered basically instantly. I love the little phaser effect. I think that's kind of a cool way of doing it.
Yeah, and they drag him out. I love Pulaski's arms.
But Stuart, don't you think it's a bit weird they're using Varion T disruptors, the most painful phaser in the galaxy? Isn't that a bit weird?
Is that what they're using?
Pretty sure. Yeah, the way they're holding him and the way it's designed, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, well.
It's one of those reused phaser props. It's kind of how I know that as well. But
Pixels,
weird.
Yeah. Pixels at Dawn puts in £2. Plot is similar to When the Bow Breaks, Season 1. Yes, but much better to watch.
That's what the children.
That's what the children, where Wesley and the kids
Yes, actually. Actually, very, yeah.
But anyway, Geordi storms into the room. He's like, "Hey!" Well, he doesn't storm in. He's like, "Hey, so I need to talk to the. Have you seen Commander Riker or Dr. Pulaski?" Nope, haven't seen them. Are you sure? And the whole time, with the way he's looking around, I thought he maybe got an after effect of the disruptor thing. It's not really mentioned.
Nope.
But definitely could have been. Instead, he goes on to say, "I can tell he was lying because he's human. An alien, maybe not so much, but a human, I got him nailed." It's like, really? Well, that could come in handy every fucking episode, pretty much.
Basically, he's not invited to poker, right? Basically, they have poker with one guy that can count cards and calculate, one guy that can read your lying. This is not a fair set of poker.
I love that. I got to repeat that so that Sylvia can hear that.
2 out of the 5 of them.
So they play poker with an android that can count cards, essentially, and a blind man that can tell when people are bluffing.
Great.
So how is that fair? Yeah.
And yet, Riker still wins.
Riker still wins because Riker.
Yeah. But this scene plays very strangely because he walks in like 10 seconds. So I took it as he saw them walk in, and I thought he was going to say, "Didn't they come in here?"
Yep.
That's how I thought it was. I was very surprised by it. Like, hey, have you seen them?
Yep.
Where are they? Like, I always get that he's seeing everything. That he walks in, he sees they're not here. There's phaser radiation in the air. There's heat signatures from the people. He can smell them. I get a sense that maybe you could extrapolate. He basically knows instantly they've been taken, and he's just bluffing his way out of the situation.
I think so. That's the vibe I definitely get from this. It's like, okay, well, some people might be wondering why Pulaski went down when they're going to be, repairing equipment. But she said she'd like to return to the planet to study replica fading while she has the opportunity. So I just wanted to point that out, just in case people were wondering.
The way she says it is so harsh. It's like, I have a chance to look at this fading while I have the chance before you're all dead. Like, if she just continued the sentence, it'd be before you all died out horribly. Like, it's a really weird way of saying it.
You got like 50 years left, and then that comes up later. That conversation.
That doesn't make a darn sausage. These people live more than 50 years. What do you mean 50 years? They all live more than 50 years.
Which, I know. I thought the same thing.
What does that mean? You just can't make any new ones. 200 years. Well, maybe. 180. And then modern medicine. It's a stupid metric. Sorry.
That's okay. But then we see their bodies, and we see these guys with the needles putting them in their stomachs, essentially, even though there's a long needles, and they would probably go right through the stomach. But that's all right.
Sci-fi. Sci-fi.
Right.
And then a very weird cut, but it's deliberate. Just instantly, they're in the place. Just like, hanging out.
And Geordi comes in. Hey, what happened to you two down on Mariposa?
What?
It's like, what? We were called to the Prime Minister's office, and then I don't remember what happened. Yeah. Why were they lying to me? Then she scans them and finds out we're missing epithelial cells. But Geordi, you're fine, just so you know.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know if this is unsanctioned, but they immediately go down to the cloning lab. They don't talk to Picard about it. They don't do anything.
No.
I don't think there's any chain of command. I think it's straight from here to the transporter room to say, fuck you to the clones.
O'Brien, don't record this. What? Set us down right now. And they got phaser rifles.
Just see the doors opening. O'Brien, that's your lunch break, isn't it?
Yep.
No, sir, that was 2 hours ago.
Computer, whiskey. What? It's real whiskey. Oh, you sure, sir? Yes. Take a break.
Go take a walk. Wouldn't
it be great? Just walks out with a whiskey glass, just drinking.
That would be good. That would be very good.
But it's not that sort of levity moment though. But in the scene though, it confuses me that they don't think anything happened. I was hoping there was some like mind change drug or something, because they seem so oblivious until they realize, wait, what did happen? It's quite a lazy feel of like, oh yeah, that was weird. I wish they'd said, but wait, what happened between 0850 and 0838? I don't remember. Like, they could have done more elegantly.
Well, it was very rushed. It felt very rushed. Like, we got to fit this scene in. It was probably a lot wordier initially, and they just cut it down.
I buy that. which is probably why Geordie doesn't know that something was wrong. Like, his vibe here is not, guys, what happened? What happened down there? He's like, hey, guys, what happened? Where were you? You weren't having sex, were you? Like you did with... I mean...
That's the kind of vibe it is, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, what were you two doing down there?
Yeah. So there's a bit of a weird scene, but yeah, and they barrel in. I mean, this is very... It feels like pure, 21st century human aggression here. Like it's really, like, interesting to watch, actually, because what happens?
Well, they find the 2 tubes. Ironically, there's just 2, but that's okay. And they open them up. They scrape the stuff off, see who it is, and then they open it up and phaser them. And Riker looks at her. Do I have your permission to kill you? Like, yep, go ahead. And phasers her. And this whole time, every time I watch this, I'm thinking, okay, that's not the only DNA they have, dipshits. There's probably a lot more stored in the other room. So after you guys leave, they're just going to use it anyway. Because you didn't get it all. You just killed one of the clones.
Yeah.
And how long is this? How long did it take them to turn these things into... There's no passage of time again. That's one of the issues with this episode. You don't get a sense of any time or how much time has passed for scenes.
Yeah, I'll buy that. This scene really kind of got me as a damn. They're flat out murdering these creatures. Like, this is
suicide.
But it isn't, though. That's the thing. If as you said earlier, if Will Riker decides to shoot Thomas Riker, is that suicide? No, it's murder. Okay.
Hold on one second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, so I was like, this is a really dark scene. I was quite surprised how instant and visceral. I mean, I understand their feelings, but it is incredibly dark.
Sylvie just made a great point. In Deep Space Nine, there's Ibudan, what's his name? Ibudan, who basically killed his own clone, and it is illegal to kill your clones. So it's established in that episode. So basically, yes, Riker just committed murder.
Yeah, because I think because they said earlier or later they say that you have it's deleted scene. That's what it was.
Those Devo 77 says those cells were stolen from them. Yes, but that doesn't. It raises a bunch of moral implications because these things were created. They were essentially alive, not really conscious yet. But that's beside the point. This would be a good legal case.
Well, that's why I said earlier. This is like, yes, these are basically rape babies.
It's the abortion debate, says Threeves. It's absolutely that. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But the way it's played is so vicious and aggressive and unthinking. Like, it is their animalistic. I'm doing it. Like, I could see it if they. And this is a weird distinction. I understand. Oh, sorry.
It wouldn't look good in Riker's personal log. Let's put it that way. And is Picard on the hook because Picard's
he has no idea.
He wasn't informed of this.
Yeah, he has no idea.
It's like it's very rushed. Again, if this was been a more drawn out episode, you could have gone into this. Like, Riker goes and says to Picard, "This is what happened. I have suspicions that they've cloned us. Do I have permission to know the planet?" You do not, Riker. And Riker goes anyway.
But I think this is similar to when Wesley was beamed off the sex planet. It's like, this has to be done. I am making the call. Repercussions will happen, but I'm not letting this stand. You will not kill Wesley, and you will not let this stuff be used to make more clones. But I was trying to say a minute ago, it's a subtle distinction, but if he had phasered the cloning machine, and that had, like, blown up the room, and, like, destroyed both pods, I would feel better, because then he's destroying a process, rather than just flat out murdering both of them. That just feels so,
and perhaps taking away their ability to do it in the future, because, like I said, they got epithelial cells. They're not all used in these clones. There would be multiple other ones that were stored, probably. Jarzia, though, throws in $5 Canadian.
Thank you.
To quote Odo, "Killing your own clone is still murder. Riker should have been charged for double suicide, and LaForge and Pulaski would be accessories." Yeah, you see, it gets into a whole entanglement, and that could be a whole live discussion. That could be a 2-hour discussion on its own. But we gotta.
And Colin Barrett, I did cross my mind, but they killed Sim to save Trip on Enterprise.
Yeah, I know. And Picard kills his clones. That's a little bit different, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, that was megalomaniacal Romulan clone to kill life in Earth. I think that's a murder. That's self-defense.
That was
Murder.
self-defense.
Yeah,
That was definitely
that
self-defense.
was homicide to save the Earth. This is, and also wasn't it a bit strange that out of all the things he could have done, when he scrapes away the glass, that's not Frakes, and that's not
I know.
Mulgrew. They look nothing like them.
Second one sort of looks like Mulgrew a little bit, but yeah, I thought the same thing.
That I thought was really disingenuous. Like, I understand.
Honestly, I thought the first one was Mulgrew, and then he just phasers it, and then he looks at the second one, and it looks more like Mulgrew, and then he looks at her, and she goes and nod like, yes, that's fine. So,
well,
I don't know.
I appreciate that the first one they open up the middle, and you see the man's chest, and the second one they don't do that with the woman. So obviously the second one's meant to be Mulgrew,
Yeah.
but they clearly. I mean, it's weird, but you couldn't have rationalized them in the tubes fully, like his beard and everything. That would be silly. And why would they make clone Mulgrew that age? So I like the fact they're like semi-translucent and stuff. That's good, but they look nothing like them. So fail in that. They don't like clones. It would have been kind of nice. I don't know if you could do this, but if they had like a randomizer to the cloning, like we've got your DNA, but we'll put like a spin on it. So
we'll mix it with other DNA to
I mean we'll make
randomize weird mutant.
Randomize your traits, because all clones are identical. But yeah, this scene really hit me hard. How graphic it is. And then he walks in, and both parties are like, I mean, we are both right. It's really like powerful. It's a good scene, but it's I would love to see what Picard would have said. To this.
Yeah, well, Riker gets pretty. The guy comes in and says, "Murderers, the hell you are thieves."
Yep.
We have the right to survive. And then it continues on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
They go up, and
we don't quite keep the dark scene tone. That kind of dies with the clones.
Yeah, what was that scene? I don't have any notes for that, but they're smiling. I forget what happened there.
It's talking about how they can't reproduce. They need. All they have to do is now have sex. We have to find some way of doing it.
Oh yes.
If only there's a way. And
yeah, then they figure out the Brinloidi are on board and solves all of our problems. Smile time.
And Picard's face like, well, I might have a solution if they need to have sex. And Riker's like, oh yeah.
And they'll enjoy it too. I should know.
Yeah.
Area 51 puts in $2. She got a foot fetish. Samuel, the clones aren't done cooking yet.
No, I know. But they look nothing like them.
It's not that simple. It's not black and white. It's not cut and dry. It's not an easy solution to the problem. It's a typical Star Trek morality thing, right? So
I think it would be different if they looked like, if he was shooting a person like Riker, that would be more censor unfriendly. So there's probably a line of we can't actually have the actors be in the tubes. That would be too harsh,
Maybe,
yeah. Because then you don't really, because it's not really a face. It's very like not face.
I should have had just like a piece of masking tape that said Riker on it, stuck on the tube, and Pulaski.
It's even cheaper. And guys,
and do not touch, not done stirring yet or something.
We're slow cooking, slow birthing. And guys, 158 people watching. More of you turned up for this Irish one than the Borg Q Who. Isn't that weird? More people turned up for this than the Q Who one.
That's fine, though.
It's
fine.
We've
been getting a slightly larger audience each time, so hopefully we're getting new subscribers. Make sure you're subscribed, and make sure you hit the like button. Let's get those likes up. And thank you guys for joining us. Wait until Picard starts. We got new stuff to talk about, which we might be disappointed in.
But Mario, I did think this as well. I like how no one on Enterprise was willing to be cloned, but the whole Voyager crew let itself be duplicated in Demon.
Yeah.
Although technically they just didn't kill.
Yeah.
Well, they already had done 3 of them, but it was also to let them survive. It was let them escape and stuff. But yeah, they all were fine with that. And boy, I don't know about you, Stuart, but that second Demons one is such a powerful episode.
Great episode.
It's just like Jesus. That one always gets me.
Yep.
So I always forget it exists, and I'm like, shit, are they gonna die? Oh, it's this one. Shit. I always forget.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Area 51, label the pods Horn Dog and Krabby Lady.
Sorry, Giles. There was at the highest point, but I mean not throughout the entire thing. You're right. It did hit about 200.
And thank you guys, 157 of you. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
So yeah, this we get the next conference room scene where we find out 2 or 3 generations and the fading will be terminal. With new DNA in 15 generations, even if you get new DNA, within 15 generations, they'll have the exact same problem. So, that's the scene that we we're just talking about. Sorry, I thought I had to confuse with this conference scene. This is the scene in the ready room. Because then what they need is breeding stock, and that's where Picard lights up. And he says, they started out together. It seems only fitting they should end up together. Then when the conference room scene starts, it starts out with the no deal. No deal. Not good. Fine, destroy yourselves. Yeah.
Bye,
it's not so bad.
Have a good night.
Bye, Donnie. And I love Pulaski here. Again, a great Pulaski episode. And I really like her because I love the not sarcasm, but bluntness. It's fine. It's not too bad, Captain. In 50 years, we'll have a Class M planet with cities.
Yes.
Perfectly ready for colonization.
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, the Marquis could do with that.
Right?
You know, the cells that have been killed by Cardassian and the Cardassian Walk going right now. Perfect. Oh, that actually brings up one small complaint, which the budget obviously didn't stretch to, but for neither the first group or this group, we don't cut to a city shot. And so when she says there are cities, it really doesn't feel that way. There's no connection to a larger scope. There's no context to that, and it desperately needed a generic map painting to show the cities.
Or a city. I mean, it's a colony, right? Did they think seriously that those are the only 2 clones that were created? There's probably cloning facilities all over the city if there's a city full of clones.
I mean, it depends how much they want population growth. I mean, if you can clone everyone, then it's just how much resources you can make. And I never really, you don't really get a sense of what technology they actually have, especially as if theoretically, can the same 5 base people all learn different skills and be proficient at them? For example, if a guy's a natural ability of astrophysics, is that taught or base innate skill? Can what in one clone body know astrophysics? Can in a different clone body he be just as genius at maths and at biology?
It's nature versus nurture, you know.
Exactly. So are the skills they can transfer limited to some extent? Can they really develop technology as creatively? Because they can't have the same creative minds because they have similar minds, even as far as you break them down. So I'm sure the tech of this planet is stagnated. So I don't know how much they can generate in terms of food and you know, I'm sure there isn't like a billion population because that's a lot to sustain.
Yeah. Christopher Rollins says, why aren't people on the ship volunteering to breed with the Mariposans? It's not like the Enterprise has anywhere to go soon. It could be a cool shore leave. You know, go get your rocks off.
Sex leave.
Don't worry. Don't think about the fact that you might have a kid that you'll never meet. I mean, that might appeal to some people.
You will. I mean, it
might appeal to some people.
That's actually, I mean, I said that actually out loud. When you see later in a minute where Riker and stuff in the cargo bay, I'm like, it'd be kind of useful if she got pregnant by Riker, because that's one more random genetic variation in the gene pool there.
And Jeff says, astrophysics is definitely learned, LOL. Yes, but he's making the point of, do you have a propensity for it because of your DNA, like that kind of study, or is that something that's definitely learned? Is it nature? Do you have that inclination because the way your brain's built?
Yeah,
it's what he's saying. He's not saying that, you're going to be born knowing astrophysics. That's just stupid.
It's like I'm especially good at space visual effects cinematography.
You got a creative mind.
Yeah,
you don't have an analytical mind per se. You got more of a creative mind, I think.
So if I clone me and give him biology with the same base being, will that version of me suddenly be good at something I don't like? And it'd be the same very good way, because we can all learn a skill, but we're all good at certain things.
Yeah.
If you clone Hawkins, he's good at one thing. Don't expect him to be the best opera singer. That's a more physical still, obviously, but some things I'm sure part of who we are.
But it's still a debate, nurture versus nature. There's no real answers.
Well, it's a combination. It's always a combination.
Yeah.
Always. And so when it's like when they say about breeding, everyone has to have multiple wives, which seems kind of odd to me because it means the first generation, like, everyone is half the same person. Like, everyone shares some similar DNA to the next person you're going to screw to some respect. You know what I mean? Like, there's still going to be a massive similarity. Because think about it, every Irish man has to sleep with the same looking clone woman. So they're all going to have half similar faces. The eyes might be the same on 20 of them. The nose might, so there'll be a lot of similar people, and they'll get less similar maybe as you sort of, but you know, they can still see the same 3 people. They're different, the same 3 people.
Yeah.
But depends. I mean, we never get a sense of how different the clones are. I kind of wish we'd met more different versions of these people. I know it's too much time in one episode, but it would have been nice to have like
again. This episode fleshed out with some morality things and a few other things in it would have been great.
It's like if we'd had the military, like the triplets, like a very hard-ass military lady with a buzz cut and a big assault rifle meets them, cuts to a scientist lady with long flowing hair and a lab coat, cuts to a hippie version who doesn't like to do cloning anymore. Like 3 very alternate personality variants with the same actor would have helped the situation. But that's okay. But yeah, I mean, this scene is fun, entertaining, and goes exactly how you expect.
Yeah, and then find out that they'll each need many wives. Each woman has at least 3 children by 3 different men, and that like perks him up. He's like, oh, I can do that. So yeah, I mean, it's a great solution to the problem. A little bit quick, but that's all right. Then they go down, and he's surprised. Well, he's shocked at the pregnant lady because he's never seen that.
Well, no, it thinks everything put together. It's a woman he's never met with a face he's never seen, pregnant with a baby that they've never had, with a baby animal that I'm sure they don't do animals. They don't need to do animals anymore, and a baby animal, and wearing clothes he's not seen with production methods they haven't used. Everything about her is completely different to anything he's ever seen. Like that is a legitimate 100% package of different. And it's quite a sweet little moment. And as I said in the earlier, that's the director's pregnant wife and their goat from home.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I love that. That's why she gets such a hero shot.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. It's lovely.
But yeah, then Brienne finds out about it, and she comes over and
find out about it.
Flips out. It's a great solution, but I'm not sure I want to be Eve.
Great line.
Well, it's your choice. I mean, we can take you and drop you off at a starbase. You can go wherever you wish. But she's like, well, who will take care of my father? And so, who you say he's a prime minister? What is that? Is that somebody of importance? Sounds like he's got more than 2 coins to rub together. All right, cool. I can
work with that.
I can be a baby factory.
Yeah, it's amazing how she instantly goes like straight for him.
Yeah.
Like she is.
Wait till she sees the black guys.
Yeah, but it's amazing. Like she's up for it. Like,
yeah,
she's gonna go do him. It's on the cards.
Yep.
But I kind of would have liked though if she'd actively said, "No, I want to explore the galaxy. I will opt out." No offense. I kind of would have liked that. Nothing against the idea, but because she's like, "What about my pa?" And it's like, well, yeah, if you have to stay, if you feel obligated to him, then you haven't got the choice to stay or leave. You have to stay. And if you're staying, you have to be a baby maker. That's part of the same deal. And it's not a negative situation. I would like her to say, I'm going to stay up here. Personally, I thought that would have been kind of nice.
Would have been. But that's the end. I mean, it's a pretty quick wrap up. They don't show any beaming down. There's no dialogue of, they'll be fine. You know, the closing bridge scene. Again, it felt very rushed for time. So a lot of short scenes.
I wouldn't say rushed. I think because it's all built up. It's a sort of a gentle end. There's no resolution per se, as much as a gentle and that's all the plot for today. But there is actually a deleted scene post this scene, which I watched. I thought this was the one with the band scene, but I was wrong. And there is actually a bridge wrap up, and it's a little bit underwhelming. They basically say, right, they're going to do great, and Pulaski's like, yes, I think they will. And because no, I think they're going to do amazingly well. And then Worf basically gives some poetry, and everyone's like, what? Because it's Klingon poetry. Starts nice, ends with bloody gore, and they sort of end awkwardly, and literally Picard's like, engage. It's a weird closing. It doesn't quite fit, and I think that's why it's cut. So there is. Go watch on the Blu-ray if you've got them. I'm sure it's on the DVD too. But yeah, so ends the episode.
So my conclusion.
Yeah.
Would have been a great TOS episode. Would have definitely fit in with the TOS vibe. It does feel very though, with the way it was kind of laid out. But it did feel almost like two separate stories that just kind of happily converged into one. So it's got a weird vibe. Like I said from the beginning, it's got a weird construction to this episode.
Yes. Even though once you watch it, you realize it is the same story that they split apart and then put back together. It's very like cyclical. You know what I mean? It's very carefully constructed to be one way, but it doesn't quite feel that way. I do agree. And they probably should have been a little bit less of a build-up, more of a like end-middle of how they're going to interact.
Yes.
They're going to rebalance it.
Yeah, the beginning seemed very stretched out. That could have been shortened quite a bit to focus more on this ending. I absolutely agree with that.
But then, I mean, the Pulaski Wharf stuff, while it means nothing, it was nice to see. And they're complete. I mean, if you take out those scenes, you're probably going to lose, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, which is quite a long time for the episode, I think, realistically. And that could have been a lot of fleshing out of the middle end. But they probably said to themselves, we don't want to go too far into it. Maybe they were like, there are levels, because this is obviously the late 80s. This is, I mean, it feels quite adult for that time, honestly. This could be a more modern show.
Speaking of, as your commanding officer, I'd like you to put up the screenshot of the lady with the midriff instead of the thumbnail for the ending, because we didn't get the $20 super chat they were asking for that. So,
but we're a kind people.
Yes.
Okay.
So anyway, continuing my synopsis. Very enjoyable episode. I really like the Pulaski element. It's a very good Pulaski episode. It doesn't feel like it's going to be a Pulaski episode, but it definitely is. Definitely builds her character. She helps out Worf. She is on the ball with the scanning and knowing everybody's a clone. Yeah, so, again, and she's friendly. She's smiling quite a few times in this episode. She's upbeat. She's not the grumpy Pulaski we're used to. So I like that, actually. Trying to think of what my score is going to be for this, though. For season 2.
Well, hold on, because it is. I think the gut reaction is it's quite mediocre, but it's got some real charm to it. Does that make sense? So it's kind of hard to rate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
And it's got some other things going for it, which might be on screen. I don't know. Before I get to my rating, though, Area 51 puts in $5. Just because you put her back on screen. Thank you, Area 51. And you're welcome at the same time. That's a thank you and you're welcome. But, okay, for season 2, I'm going to have to give this a 6 out of 10. It's not great. It's not great. It's got a lot of great elements, but it does feel very rushed in certain spots. And not enough information is conveyed, especially time. The passing of time is not something that's conveyed well in this episode, which is a shame. As for all of TNG, it's going to have to probably be around a 4.5.
Okay.
It's rewatchable. It's not super bad. It's kind of the middle of the road thing. So there you go.
I think, though, and say what you think at the end of when I finish. I like this episode more after this review, after talking about it for 2 hours. What do you think?
I 100% agree with you.
Yeah,
and it could definitely be talked about for another hour or so, based on the conversation we were having. But yes. So
it's very hard to review because it is. I think that, like I say, it's weaker than some of its parts, and that's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not. It could have been 2 episodes, or to be fair. It could have been a surprising 2-parter. First part, it goes one way. Then a second distress call happens at the end of the part 1. And they're like, what? You had another colony? Second part, the clone story. Each one has a unique vibe, but you lead into, whatever. But no, I like this one. It's good, not great. Some good moments. The acting is good. They like what they're doing. They didn't want to go into too much depth. They have lots of fun character moments, the booze moment, the pig moment, the extras. I've given full credit for turning the sets into a pigsty because they committed to that, and it looks exactly as you think, and I appreciate that because that would have taken some clean and fixing.
Yeah,
good job them. Yeah. That's a nice looking transporter room set. At least it was until that day. Oh god, the scores though.
Scores are tricky with this
Yeah.
one. Do you want me to read a super chat or two while you're
Yeah,
thinking?
yeah.
Austin Varia puts in $2 Canadian.
Thank you.
Awesome work once again. Thank you very
Appreciate it.
much. Jill47 puts in $2. Thanks for giving Pulaski another chance, Stuart. No problem. She's actually earned it. And I should have listened to you before we started season 2 because you said you'll probably like Pulaski more by the end. And I said, I don't know about that.
You didn't. Yes, you were. You did not.
But yeah. And then lastly, Eugene puts in 500 rubles. Says 8 out of 10. Good season 1 episode.
I would agree. That would. Yep.
People from the past are treated way nicer than in the neutral zone. Yes. Yes. Again, and that people from the past, the colony thing makes it feel very TOS. It could fit in that mold.
But if this was season 1, 8 or 9 out of 10 for season 1.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Just as is. Yes.
Yeah.
P.S. Mariposa people turned to cloning way too early, even considering the 50 to 500 rule. Well, that's their prerogative.
And that's a great question. Like, I'm sure they said, this child is very good at math. Why don't we just clone him 4 times? And this is a great baseball player, you know? I'm sure they went back to cloning at some point just because they were used to it. So I'm for a hybrid culture.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't just give it up, you know?
Yeah. Well, before I read the next 2 super chats, give me your scores.
Okay. I think I'm going to. I don't want to do the same score as you because I feel like that's a cop out.
It's not, though. I shouldn't always give my score first. We should trade that up every once in a while.
I'm going to go 6.5 for season 2 and 4 for all TNG. So I think it's slightly better than you say for season 2, but slightly worse than all TNG. Just because I think that's, I think it's a good season. For what we've seen so far, this still holds up pretty well. Because nothing's been that bad so far, apart from the first and the last. They're worthless. But I think it's still very average for all. Because there's some really good TNG. Some really, and it doesn't really fall into that category. But again, I very much agree.
Cool. Jarzia, though, throws in $5. Says 6 for season 2, 4 for TNG, 10 for Hot Irish Lady. And Stuart's changing opinion of Pulaski shows how perspective can change when you don't watch a show in years. I mean, I've rewatched TNG many times. Yeah. And my view of Pulaski at the end is always the same. But when we go in depth like this, it really makes you look at it in a different way. Yeah. So, and the fact that I've always said I'm open-minded, I'm willing to change my mind about things. A lot of people on the internet aren't. I'm much more open to the Excelsior now, things like that. This show's really helped me in that regard, to open up my eyes, and just discussing things really helps that situation. So I want to thank you guys and Samuel for...
No, I agree. We base it on what we see, and when you actually think about, talk about, analyze, it can change everything. Like, we've looked at Discovery, and one scene can help make an entire episode better, or, analyzing it properly, really giving... Because the thing is, Pulaski's actions and how they affect the other characters, you sort of don't think about when you're just watching the episode. Mm-hmm. And sometimes all those things put together can kind of up your think about them.
Well, Area 51 says, Trekyards, okay, maybe we were a little harsh on Pulaski. I'm sure the data bashing colored our perception. Yeah. Absolutely it did. Those were like our first impressions of her going into season 2.
Yep.
And I think all the other stuff, that's one of the things you remember most. First impressions make a big deal, and her first impression was not good. So I think that's exactly right.
What's sad is that you don't remember any of her good, just the one bad note she did.
Yeah.
And clearly, she's not written that many. She's not done that much, but they clearly rolled back the data hate instantly. Like, they did it. They thought, let's not do that again. They went straight off it. So they knew it was a mistake because they didn't do it again. Now, we haven't reached the other time she's going to do it. So I'm just going from now up to this point. But it feels as if they've taken a distinct step backwards. Like, we'd rather give her, let's just have her talk to everyone else apart from Data. Much safer. So it's working better when she's not in that relationship.
Yeah. And Not a Band Account puts in $1.99.
Thank you.
And says, aced a job interview, have some money. Well, congratulations on your job interview. And thank you very much for the super chat. Very much appreciated.
Maybe with the new job you won't be banned. Your account won't be banned. Or will be banned.
And maybe you'll be able to super chat more.
Well, yeah. Yeah, good job, guys. I'm glad you guys turned up for this one. I guess you guys do remember. Again, this one for me was one that went through the cracks, so it's nice to see everyone remembered it more than me.
This review was longer than I anticipated. Again,
Seriously.
I had less screen caps than normal. I had less notes than normal, but it opened up a great discussion. We're over the 2-hour mark, which is
surprising.
Yeah, for a lot of good episodes, like really good episodes people enjoy, and really stand up to people, we're under the 2-hour mark. So, Zeraxis puts in $5.
Thank you.
Sorry I couldn't be here to accept near the end. Was a good episode to my collection. 7 out of 10 for me. Glad to see y'all are liking Pulaski more. Yeah, there's a lot of Pulaski lovers out there, and I've been told over the years that she's not as bad as I think she is.
I never disliked her. It's just she's hard to look at in contrast to Beverly, who's warm and nice and friendly. Like it's more the contrast that I saw. Yeah, but Pulaski is at least a good doctor. They gave her that strong and fast.
Jeff says went through the cracks just like my last super chat. I guess I missed a super chat from Jeff. $2, 136, nicely done. I bet you can't get to 180. Hashtag make Jeff pay. Sorry, Jeff. Sorry, we were talking, discussion. It happens.
And Brian, we didn't, but Stuart told me to, and he felt generous. And then we got 5 as a thank you for the picture, so that's okay.
Oh yeah, we got 20, I think, for sure.
By the end, yeah. And still 140 people watching, 140 likes. I'd love to see 150 likes. Would be great. And tonight, a little bit later on, when Stuart gets a chance to see, he is doing the first reaction of Children of Mars, and then tomorrow, after a lovely Trekyards fan sends me the episode, Stuart will do screen caps, and we'll do a live review tomorrow. I'm excited. It's our last short. It's our first live-action prequel to Picard, which means it's our very first live-action sequel to Nemesis.
Yes, so it's going to be exciting. Well, I don't know if from the vibe I get from people that I've heard about the Children of Mars is it doesn't feature Picard. It's kind of like a few years before thing.
Yeah, 5 years. But don't say anything, guys. Like, just don't type in a thing. We want to go in without.
So I'll probably schedule it soon after a thumbnail.
I will just.
But 10:30 or 11 o'clock tonight, I'll do my live first reaction to the short that's going on. Because I haven't seen it yet. A lot of people have, but I haven't. So I will.
It always makes me laugh. Then, have you seen it? It's like, no. It came out on All Access in America today. No, I haven't seen it. I mean, if they made All Access available worldwide, and I would pay for it, and I would get access to it. But they're stupid.
So Area 51 says, Trekyards, I'm going to take a bow for inspiring the lady being put back up, but I will take a victory lap. I'm not going to take a bow for inspiring. Okay, well, do a victory lap. Anyway.
We have fun here.
We do.
And we'll see you, Stuart, see you tonight, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great rest of the night. Thanks, guys. Bye.
See you later, guys.